Caleb, you and I have been talking and how so many people can have all the right strategies. They can know exactly what to do. They have all the books, all the tools, all the processes, and yet they find a way to completely mess it all up. Because they just don't have a operating system that enables them to understand how the through line works and really what they're going for. And so much of what you and I were just talking about before I turned on the recorder is just an absolute masterclass on the laser vision that you have in order to understand exactly what the outcome is that you're going for, and then engineer a business and engineer a lifestyle that gives you the happiness and the outcome that you were looking for. And because you've done it the opposite way, you've chased scale for the sake of chasing scale. And really all you were doing was chasing your tail, making yourself busier at the expense of your life. And you were chasing this number of how many millions of dollars of throughput you wanted to put into your business. And you've completely changed your approach in recent years. You're a lot happier. You're making a lot more damn money. The game of life has slowed down and you have this vision for where you're going. Really, what was the big shift in how you thought about your business and how you've approached it in the last 4 or 5 years from where you were in the late teens?
Almost every business owner that I come in contact with pretty much have two problems. One or both of the following problems. They're either not making enough money, they're not making enough profit, they're not generating enough sales, they're not generating enough personal income,
Hell yeah.
or else they are just working around the clock and they don't have any time to enjoy life. They're working 60, 80 hours a week and they just can't get away from their business. And these are, in my experience, number one, I suffered from both of these issues and relentlessly for years, but I also see that almost every business owner suffers from these problems. And really, there's an awful lot of misunderstanding of how to go about solving these things. Anytime I'm working with a client who has one or both of these problems, they think the solution is to get into a different traffic source and launch a new offer, dial in their funnel some more, and find an agency that can create better ads for them, and so on and so forth. When in reality, there's a systemic issue in place. And the systemic issue in place is that they never really built a business that is designed to generate a lot of money and to generate a lot of money on autopilot. Because without having a business that is designed from the get-go to generate a lot of money and generate a lot of money on autopilot, what ends up happening is you're stuck on this hamster wheel you're all in on a funnel. You're all in on a particular product. You're all in on one thing. And that one thing will never be a business. It'll never be enough. That one funnel, no matter how successful it is, it'll never set you up for life. It'll never get you off the hamster wheel. It will never generate enough profit on its own for you to have the type of lifestyle that you want. And you'll never find people that'll be able to run that one thing for you in a way where you can be playing golf and, they're taking care of it all for you. So the real master key solution to all of this is really to build an automated monetization machine to generate a lot of money and to do it on autopilot. So it's really about looking at your business not from the perspective of making money. There's this saying, I'm too busy making money to build a real business. And that's the problem. The problem is that there's too many business owners too focused on doing what needs to be done to pay the bill at the end of the month to build a real business that can get them off that hamster wheel. So it boils down to stuff that Rob and I talk a lot about. It's in the book. We talk about it in so many different episodes in the podcast. And that is, you need to acquire customers and then you need to monetize those customers. So you need an offer that generates the maximum quantity of customers humanly possible on the front end. But that's not an offer that's supposed to make you money. It's not supposed to make you profit. It's really just an exchange of value. You want to put in $1, get your dollar back out plus a customer, so to speak. So it's just really, you're just trading money for customers. That's really what it is. And then from there, it's into the monetization phase. And that monetization phase is really about presenting as many different products, services, and solutions as you possibly can in an automated manner to those customers over an extended period of time. And to do it in an automated way. Everything should be automated. One of the greatest lessons I learned, and I had to continue to relearn it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, is from my brother. I would be constantly on this hamster wheel of creating new promotions, new campaigns, new video sales letters, new webinars, and everything I was doing was new, 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 new. And he saw that like I had to, every month I had to start over again and do the same thing. And his lesson to me at the time was, hey, anything that's worth doing is worth doing for the last time. Meaning, don't do anything unless what you're doing can be systematized in a way that someone else can come along and take the system that you have built and implement it themselves again and again and again without you being involved in it.
Maybe
So
even better.
don't create any remarkably unique video sales letters, as an example, in my world. Create a template for creating video sales letters and document that template. Make it as systematic as it can possibly be so that, number one, that video sales letter can continue to be used again and again and again. It can be presented to each new customer that comes through the door. But the system, the formula that has built that can be given to someone else. Person then can paint between the lines and create another VSL just like it, and another VSL just like it, and another VSL just like it. So the lesson is, if you're going to do something valuable, do it for the last time. Don't book future work. Same with webinars, same with email campaigns. Like in the last few years, all my email campaigns follow exactly the same structure over and over and over again. They all follow the same formula. They're all using the same templates. They're all using the same structure. They all have the same strategy to them. But I have a copywriter that I've given the formula to, I've given the templates to, and that person can come in now and color between the lines, so to speak. So now I'm off the hook. I don't have to create these email campaigns anymore. It's very different to the way that I was doing it, which was every time a new promotion was needed, I had to create the email campaigns. I was creating them all uniquely each and every time. I wasn't leaving a system behind me that someone else can take and implement. The same with video sales letters, the same with landing pages, the same with webinars. Everything you do, you should do it for the last time. You should leave a system behind for someone to paint between the lines and create something that, even if it's not equally as effective. I learned this a long time ago. The businesses that survive and thrive are not the ones that have the best copy. They're not the ones that always and consistently have the penultimate offers. They're the ones that can just mass produce offers, mass produce solutions, mass produce services that can keep providing new things to their customers all the time. On the front end, you need to be as good as you can possibly be. You need to be as brilliant as you can possibly be, because there's so much money on the line. It's hard to convert on the front end. You don't have any of those pressures in the back end. So you can afford to operate at 80% effectiveness. And if you have a system in place that allows you to produce new webinars, new video sales letters, new landing page copy, new products, new email campaigns. So it's really about getting us to implementing systems, implementing strategies that, someone else can come in behind you and start executing on. And it's really, at the end of the day, about providing as many products, services, and solutions as you possibly can on the back end, so that every new customer that comes through your door is about to go through a journey hopefully over a 12 or 18-month period, if you can possibly pull off something like this, but this is a real business, they go through an automated journey over the next 6, 12, 18 months, where every week they're being presented with product, services, and solutions in an automated way. And all of this with the powers of modern technology can be set up in the manner. And building something like that will free you from 90% of the stress, 90% of the hassle, 90% of the workload, 90% of the fear that is associated with running a business on a daily basis. It will remove the workload, it will remove the stress, the anxiety, the fear. It'll take all pressure off you, pay the bills at the end of the month. It will skyrocket your personal income. It's an absolute master key to success in business. And having that in place, that really is what will allow you to be playing golf on Tuesday afternoon. And it's also one of the big secrets is that you can get people to run that business for you very easily,
Mhm.
because it's more of a managerial operational task rather than searching for a needle in a haystack type person who can do stuff for you, which they're very few and far between and almost impossible to find. If you can systematize everything that you do on the back end, the money that will come from that will be so much that it will solve almost all financially related problems and time-based problems that business owners have.
It's absolutely brilliant because what I see over and over again, I lived it and have been there myself and see it now in clients and entrepreneurs that I work with all the time, is that they've put themselves into a box of constraints and they have a particular thing that they sell and they are acquiring funnels or they're acquiring an agency or they're acquiring this thing and they bring it into their box to sell their thing to their certain type of customer. And what I work hard to help folks do is shed the box. And you've put yourself in this frame of mind thinking that you sell a certain person a certain thing. And what I think is brilliant that you've come to appreciate is that no, I am not a person who sells to a certain person a certain thing. I'm a type of person who has a son and a wife, and I live at the beach, and I'd like to spend as much time flying a kite with my son at the beach because by 4 p.m. he's ready to go fly the kite, and the business is simply a method of funding my lifestyle. And
Yeah.
now how can I create a business that funds my lifestyle in the simplest, easiest way possible? All right. Well, then I'm going to find customers who have an urgent dilemma, and I'm going to choose the ones whose dilemma is the most urgent that I'm going to talk to. And then I'm going to offer them a solution that's priced in a way that it's an easy purchase. It doesn't give me an immediate profit, but what it does is it helps me identify those who are going to, and you're building a systemized process that is simple for you to fulfill. It's simple for your team to fulfill. And now you can get AI to do a lot of it. And
Yeah.
it's even, and what you do though, is every iteration you're tweaking the process. So yes, you have a template to create a video sales letter, and every time you create a video sales letter and implement it, you're like, let me modify step 13 and see if I can squeeze out a little bit more emotion, squeeze in another trigger that I didn't have in there before. And so that goes into the template for the next time. The other thing that I see the massive transformation is that Gary Halbert's gun to the head philosophy. If somebody had a gun to your head and convert or die, and well, that means you're going to put everything into that offer you can. You're going to give away as much fulfillment as much, and so there and without the gun to the head offer, I see most entrepreneurs in a focus of fear and panic. They're afraid somebody's going to not say yes to their offer. And they want to try to stack up everything they can in order to try to get that conversion. And what that does on the back end is create fulfillment debt, that they're so busy and their team is so overwhelmed fulfilling on this front end offer because they stacked this stack out of fear, right? And now they've also overwhelming their customer on the front end. Instead of having a nice trade for a nice amount of money, instead you fearfully gave so much that you're now overwhelming your customers on the front end. They don't want any more from you. They're already got the fire hose of delivery. It's like too much. And so now you don't get the opportunity to monetize. One, because you're too damn busy on the hamster wheel of fulfillment, and two, because your customers are too damn busy on your hamster wheel of fulfillment that they're gone because you overwhelm them. They don't want your next upsell off. And so having this machine and having the discipline that I'm going to solve a nice core piece of their problem for an incremental amount of money and deliver that solution. And then that sets up the demand for the rest of what I have to offer. And that machine is the absolute brilliance. And what you can do, any business owner can do, is simply step out of the box. And instead of trying to be so focused on selling this certain type of customer a certain thing, instead back up and go, hey, what is the simplest way for me to make the money I want to make in my life in order to achieve the lifestyle that I want to live? And let's start with a plain whiteboard and create, using the tools that I now have, all these software systems. How could I engineer, and who could I sell to that has the biggest urgent dilemma, and engineer a life for yourself rather than feeling like I'm taking this bit of leverage and I'm going to have this bit of leverage. And I'm going to do this coaching program, which is going to give me this other leverage. And I'm going to get employees. And like you over leverage yourself into one, being broke because you have all this stuff you're paying for, people and tools and processes. And so your nut is bigger than ever because you just have your overhead. And two, you haven't engineered a life. You've just grabbed leverage in order to try for the sake of leverage. So that's my soapbox, Caleb. I know I got a little emotional there.
Well, it's huge because it's what causes misery in business. There's just so many guys that are on a hamster wheel that they can't get off. And, you know, they are forced to run faster and faster and faster and faster. It's not a hamster wheel that slows down. It never gets any better. And, what we're talking about here is really how to get off the hamster wheel, how to make a lot more money, how to have a lot more time, how to harness this wild stallion of business, bring it under control and make it what it is that every entrepreneur really wants anyway, which is you want to be able to make a lot of money. You want to have an amazing impact, but you want all of that to give you this amazing lifestyle. And so many people are bought into that dream, and unfortunately, very few people ever get it. And the reason why they never get it is because they just don't have this holistic understanding of what needs to be done in order to build out something that really can generate that. And it's not an IQ issue, and it's not an entrepreneurial intelligence issue, and it's not a traffic issue, and it's not an ad creative issue. It's just strategy. You just need to understand that you've got to build something that generates a lot of money in an automated manner.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to have this much broader scope of understanding of what needs to be done. You don't want to be in a position where you're too busy making money to build a real business. If you're in that situation, that's the hamster wheel. If you've got to pay the bill at the end of the month and you're so focused on that you can't actually go and build out a real business, you're on that hamster wheel. You have to move faster and faster and faster. You are going to burn out. It is all going to come crashing down because there's no positive place that ends. The only way for you to get off it is to build a real legitimate business. It's to build an automated monetization machine.
And now I'm getting angry because what I'm thinking about is there's two different there's like a lot of our viewers, and we can see it in the comments because it's obvious based on the type of questions that are asked, whether they're business owners shopping for strategies to implement in their business, or they're shopping for a business that's going to deliver the lifestyle that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And most of the gurus out there, there is a massively famous, you know, there's a massively famous guru right now, the guru du jour, who is serving by keeping those business owners where they are so that they'll buy his products and services. And he's feeding that addiction for the next great strategy, the next great tool, the next idea, the next copy hook. And he's happens to be doing it by stealing ideas from the greatest copywriters ever. You can simply read a lot of the books, Eugene Schwartz book, and you see that he just totally just read that darn book and swiping those ideas and passing them off as his own and feeding the addictions of these small business owners, essentially keeping them locked in their box and preventing them from ever breaking out, versus, hey, there's a much better way to do this. And you don't have to be struggling. You don't have to be in this box. You don't have to be producing content and creating videos and creating more and more and buying more stuff and buying these tools and waiting for my next video that reveals the next strategy. All of that goes away. And yes, even we reveal a lot of great strategies, and part of it is we appreciate that it generates a lot of traffic when there is a tactical tool that somebody can go and implement in their business, because they're in that box and they go, oh yeah, I see that. Maybe I can create an incremental improvement. But at another level, we really would like for you to be out of your box and to
Yeah.
let go of your current constraints and see that really there's a much easier way to make money in your business. And my goodness, if you care about this at all, let us know in the comments if you want more about the actual system and process and the thinking about how to move from where you are into how you want to think. To because I know, Caleb, one of the things, that we're out of time for the little brief window that we had in order to do this. And thank you for letting me turn on the recorder, because the little rant that we had, I thought would be useful. We'll see in the comments if it was or not. But the way we got on this is you had a great friend of yours, somebody that you respect dearly, that is an absolute brilliant copywriter that you've learned from, and the person had called you into his business, and you saw that, oh my gosh, there's so many things where you misused, different, that needed to be fixed, and that there is this entire philosophy that I hesitate to call it mindset, but there's an entire approach to this multi-channel monetization machine that is entirely different, where you see all these tools in a different light. And the idea is, instead of starting with the start and thinking about how do we turn these people into a customer, let me throw all these strategies at them and see what it takes. Instead, it's starting with the end goal. What is the life that I want? And what is the income that I want in order to live that life? And how is the simplest and easiest way to generate that outcome? And by engineering it from the goal backwards rather than the customer forwards, it's so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. That's a great point.
Well, if you got any value out of this and you think this is important and you would like more on this one, like and subscribe, and also comment below. Or if it's crickets, then you know what, we are going to join the gurus and serve the addictions by passing out more tactics, because certainly there is a tactics du jour. And
Yeah.
if you would like more tactics, you're really sick and tired of hearing about this topic and would want more, then we have got a steady stream of tactics in the email newsletter, Monetization Daily. Go to monetizationresearch.com, get yourself subscribed to Monetization Daily for a steady email newsletter for a steady stream of monetization tactics. Caleb, thank you for
Thank you.
giving me this window of time. I know that you need to get going, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, Rob. God bless.